How does one face certain death? One man survived a horrific car crash that cost him half his skull, but not his life. Join us here each week for amazing survival tales of superhuman strength. Find out why these people refuse to succumb, but instead show us how they survive. In 1994, Italian police officer and former Olympian Mauro Prosperi was looking to push his physical limits by participating in the Sahara Marathon. This was a noteworthy feat up until the fourth day, when high winds brought on an unexpected sandstorm that caused organizers to pause the race for the day. Other competitors waited out the storm and eventually made it to the fourth checkpoint by nightfall. But Mauro Prosperi had disappeared. The following morning, ground and air search parties were sent out to look for him. The Moroccan military and Bedouin trackers aided in the search. However, they found no trace of Prosperi. To event organizers, Prosperi was assumed lost in a desert big enough to place the entire United States in, with temperatures exceeding 115 degrees. But the heat was not Prosperi's only challenge. For the Sahara, temperatures plummet to 25 degrees at night. Even worse were the dangers he could not see in the night, such as African wild dogs, Saharan cheetahs, horned vipers, golden jackals, and spotted hyenas. But Prosperi would make it through the night. In his own words, he says, "When the sandstorm started to blow, I lost sight of everybody else. I kept running though, because I thought I could see the trail. I was in seventh place and I didn't want to lose my standing." It was nearly dark before the winds relented. I started running again, but after a few minutes it occurred to me that I had lost the trail. Following race guidelines to remain stationary and wait for rescue, Prosperi sat on a sand dune all day. In the afternoon, he says a rescue helicopter flew almost directly above his position, but failed to notice him. The next day, Prosperi begins walking again. In the distance, Prosperi noticed what appeared to be a solitary structure. As he approached, he recognized it as a Marabelt shrine, an abandoned tomb for a Muslim religious leader. Although there was no rescue to be found here, the shrine provided shade and other resources. In an attempt to stay hydrated, Prosperi sucked on wet wipes from his pack, licked morning dew off of rocks, and drank his own urine while it remained relatively clear. He also used urine to rehydrate and cook the freeze-dried food in his pack, since there were no other water sources. When his food stockpiles ran out, Prosperi says he ate bird eggs and beetles. He also says he killed and consumed raw bats and lizards. These bats and animals were found near the shrine. He was hoping to absorb any moisture that might be removed by cooking the flesh. Anti-diarrhea medicine in his pack helped him avoid losing more water despite his extreme diet. Much later on, an airplane passed near Prosperi's location. He says he tried to signal by lighting a small fire and writing SOS in the sand, but the plane continued towards the horizon. In a final attempt to reach safety, Prosperi left the shrine and began walking towards mountains in the distance, traveling in early morning and late evenings to avoid heat of the day. Prosperi believed the mountains to be in the direction of the Marathon Trail. This route would actually take him even further into the Sahara. As he passed dry riverbeds, he squeezed the liquid from plant roots. Then after 8 days in the desert, Prosperi found the desert oasis. Really, it was only a large puddle, a mirror of water, and a wadi. Prosperi says, "I threw myself upon it and gulped with abandon, but I could hardly swallow. I managed to force a mouthful of it down my throat, and almost immediately I vomited." He says, "I couldn't hold anything. I found I had to take tiny sips once every 10 minutes. With his thirst quenched, Prosperi filled his water container and kept walking. Eventually he found some dried up goat droppings and continued searching for more. The droppings led him to human footprints, he recalls, as he crested a hill and beheld an incredible sight. There was a nomadic girl, maybe 8 years old, tending to a flock in a sparse greenery of a wash. He says, I ran towards her and I begged for her help. The girl was part of a caravan of nomadic Tuareg who immediately gave Prosperi goat's milk, then took him via camel to the nearest village. Despite starting in Morocco, Prosperi had traveled 180 miles from where he disappeared, unknowingly wandering into Algeria, where he was taken to the hospital. Prosperi had lost 35 pounds, weighing in at just 99 pounds when he was rescued. Prosperi was then reunited with his family and received a warm welcome back to Italy, although he was unable to eat solid foods for several months after his ordeal, and would recover slowly for almost 2 years. Prosperi would return to Sahara Run in 2012 and complete the event.